We are going to go ahead and get started with saving our sanity. You might have seen my dog come up here already, so there might be some visitors that pop in. But just know that you are not alone needing some sanity saved at the end of the school year, because every single teacher, whether you have taught for one semester or you are finishing up year 29, we all have the same concerns, the same challenges. We are stressed out. We have the same behavior concerns. So my goal for you tonight is that you take away a couple of tips, even if it's just one, that you can go and implement into your classroom tomorrow to help you get through the last month of school. So as we mentioned before, if you do have any questions or any comments, please use that question feature on the side of your screen. And please feel free to ask anything and everything, and we will get to those comments and questions. So we'll go ahead and get started. A little bit about me. My name is Jessica Travis, and I am born and raised just outside of Dallas, Texas, where I teach kindergarten. So I need a lot of help saving my sanity, as a lot of you do. But I taught first grade for 8 years, and then I moved down to kindergarten, where I've been the last 3 years. And just a funny story, when I was moving down to kindergarten, I went to my new team that I was going to be teaching with, and I asked one of the team members, I said, okay, if there's one tip that you can give me, what would it be? And so one of my good friends, she said, expect nothing. When you go to kindergarten, like, they don't know how to be a human. They don't know how to sit on a rug. They don't know how to walk in a line. You're just going to have to teach them everything. And I cried the whole first week. So maybe in August we can do a sanity saving tip for back to school, because I think we'd all benefit from that. But I absolutely love kindergarten, and even though we need a little bit of sanity saving, it's completely worth it. So I'm a mom of 2 boys. My oldest is in 3rd grade, Jackson, and he also makes me realize why I do not want to teach 3rd grade. Some of the stuff that he brings home is, oh my goodness, it's so hard now. And then my youngest, the little mess right there, he is in kindergarten right across the hallway from me. And that is a question that I also get often. Do you teach your own child? That answer is no. So bless you, those that do teach your own child. But I'm very, very blessed because I have both of my kiddos in school with me this year, and secretly love that they find every excuse to come into my classroom during the day. But I wouldn't have it any other way. So I wanted to start off with these sanity funny little memes that I've seen on social media a lot, because I think it really shows that all of us feel the exact same way at the end of the year. The little owl in the bottom, he's one of my favorites, how a teacher looks at the end of the year. I mean, you see the hair right here. I put on a nice shirt for you. I have on my pajama pants. So if you are lounging in your pajamas, that is the way to go. There's no teacher tired. There's no tired like teacher tired, and I think we're all feeling that right now. Stay strong. The school year is almost over. And the one in the bottom, a lot of people are like, I don't know how many days we have left. But I guess that if I asked each and every one of you, you would tell me the exact number of days that you have left the school year. Some of you even down to the minutes and hours. But we won't ask that. That's completely secret with us. But just some of the funny things that let us know we're not alone. And one of the other things is that research is actually being done on why teachers feel like this at the end of the school year. So I wanted to show you some of the why that you feel challenged and stressed every single year at this time. These are the top 4 reasons that researchers have put down onto paper that say, okay, this is why teachers are challenged. We're tired. Let's just face it, we are tired. Some of you are probably already past your bedtime. So again, thank you for being here. But we have put in a good 150 days of school, as well as our students. So not only are we feeling the pressure and the challenges of the end of the year, our students are also feeling those challenges. So we need to remember to keep those in mind as well. We've had this structure and this consistent routine for 150 plus days. And I mean, we're just very, very tired. So that's one of the reasons that we're feeling very, very challenged and stressed at this point in the year. The end of the year paperwork, oh my goodness, there should be a whole class in college about just the end of the year paperwork and the meetings and the conferences that were not really planned and prepped for. Do you know what I'm talking about? Lots of meetings and parent conferences, the end of the year data sheets and where they're going to be placed the next year and trying to get them to the next reading levels. So lots and lots of paperwork. Another thing is that our curriculum is kind of winding down for the end of the year. Yes, we're still teaching things, but there's a little bit more free space within our curriculum. So it's leading to our students becoming not as engaged. And some of you are probably saying my class is wild and they're crazy. I read some of your questions before this webinar started, and some of you had me laughing very, very hard because some of you said, how do I tame the wild beasts? And just give me one tip to survive. I'm not going to make it. So please know that you're not alone, but a lot of that is because our kids are disengaged because our curriculum is not as consistent as it was at the beginning of the year. But the last, but certainly not least, is that pressure that we need to get our students ready for the next grade level. It's almost like we look up and we say, oh my goodness, I have 25 days left and I have this amount of students who really aren't ready to be placed into the next grade. So we have this underlying pressure, and it comes from people above us and people above them and parents and just experience that really, really, really challenges us at the end of the year. Now, one of the things that I didn't put in here that research said we feel stressed and overwhelmed with is our own personal life. A lot of times teachers, we leave that personal time out, but our kids are playing sports. And this is a year both of our kids are in baseball for me personally. And so 5 out of the 7 nights a week, I'm at the ball fields. There might be a death in the family, or a baby's on the way, or marriage problems, or parents are sick. So there's lots and lots of reasons that teachers are feeling challenged and stressed at the end of the year. So my goal for this whole webinar, we're going to look at 10 tips, 10 sanity saving tips that hopefully you can take back with you to your classroom. Some of these you might already be doing, and that is fantastic. I'm going to try and elaborate on some of those really familiar ones to give you the why we should be doing them. And then some of them, we're just going to have a good time tonight. It's going to be fun. It's not going to be so serious because, let's face it, we need something to lighten us up at the end of the year because everything at school is so serious. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, if you have any questions throughout this entire webinar, please post them in the questions, the comment section. I'm going to get those afterwards, and I will answer each and every single one of those. I'll write a blog post. You can email me directly. I'll put my email on the last screen, but please know that I'm listening. We are all here. We are all needing some sanity saving tips. So please feel free to ask those throughout the webinar. All right, so sanity saving tip number 1. It is brain breaks. And a lot of you are saying, well, I got that, Jessica. Like, I do that all day long, every day. But the one thing that you'll probably notice that is like, ooh, every 15 to 20 minutes, like, I got to teach, Jessica. Like, I can't do that. But again, the research behind it says that you take a student's age and you add the number 2, and that is the maximum amount of minutes that they can truly be focused and engaged. So if you are looking at our pre-K, our kindergarten, and our first grade students, we're looking at a maximum engagement time of like 6 to 10 minutes max. So really the 15 to 20 minutes is like pushing it a little farther. But when I heard this from a professor a couple of years ago, he said, okay, now take a look at your schedule. How long are your kids sitting? And I was like, well, we're kindergarten, we're up and moving all the time. But really, when you think about it, if you're doing calendar or math, we might be on the rug for 25 minutes. It's no wonder that legs are up in the air and they're rolling around, and it looks kind of like a circus at the end of your math lesson because these kids are unengaged. So when I say brain breaks, and you'll see a picture of me dancing right along, because that's my exercise too, and I need a brain break as well. But get involved with your kids. And so we'll look at a couple of different things that you can do in your classroom that you're probably already doing. But again, I think the shocking part of this is every 15 to 20 minutes. And that's even really stretching it then, because our kids need that. My motto is that disengagement to re-engage them back into the lesson. So some of my favorite guided brain breaks, and you might be familiar with these. I put Go Noodle up at the top because, again, it's a free, wonderful brain break website for all teachers. You just create an account if you're not familiar with it, and you can log in, and there's great anywhere from 30 seconds to your indoor recess times up to 15 minutes. And it does it with fun characters. You can tie in your learning content. You can personalize the questions so that it really fits your grade level and learning at the same time. So if you're not familiar with GoNoodle, I suggest you go register. It's completely free. It keeps track, it prints certificates for your class. It's very, very engaging for our students. And it's a really, really quick way to get those wiggles out because they have a lot of them right now. Yes. The Cosmic Kids Yoga, the Just Dance Kids, and the Learning Station are all things that are found on YouTube. You might be familiar with some of those as well. I do suggest that if you're going to use YouTube to get a safe share site. I learned that the hard way when I pulled up a Cosmic Kids Yoga and we saw the preview for the Bad Moms Christmas. That was really fun to explain to kindergartners about that. But the Cosmic Kids Yoga, if you're not familiar with that as well, it is this cute and darling little British lady that tells stories, and some of them are very well-known stories, Trolls, Harry Potter, Frozen, into just little animal characters. And so she does these very kid-friendly movements. She walks you through and talks you through the story, and it's just a very engaging, guided brain break for your students. The kids absolutely love it. We turn off the lights, we do yoga, and then you can tie in the comprehension, like what happened in the story. So it's kind of a win-win on that one. Just Dance Kids, I put kids there because if you just do Just Dance, you're going to get some inappropriate songs, and you really don't want to have that conversation with parents later, even though your kids already know those songs. But Just Dance Kids, and then the Learning Station is another great brain break activity on YouTube again for just little silly, quick, quirky movements and catchy tunes and songs and stories. But again, the Cosmic Kids, the Just Dance Kids, and the Learning Station. The safe share site that I use for YouTube is viewpure.com, V-I-E-W, yes, P-U-R-E.com. And so when you pull up viewpure.com, it'll have a little address bar inside the website, and you just highlight your YouTube. So if you find a Cosmic Kids Yoga, just highlight that web address in YouTube, paste it into your ViewPure, and then you have a very clean, ad-free, commercial-free video that ViewPure has taken out all of the inappropriate things. So when you save it in your favorites and you pull it up, you only have the content that you're looking for. So again, those are some of my favorite guided brain breaks, but sometimes we just need to get the wiggles out. We need to disengage to re-engage, and I don't really have time to pull the screen down, turn on all of the technology, and yet we already see that technology can definitely have some issues. So some other different types of brain breaks, just simple movements. Now on your screen there is a link at the bottom for these, but if you don't feel like writing it down right now, that's completely okay. At the end, I'm also going to give you all of these links again. So if you just want to listen and sit back and eat your dinner, whatever you're doing, don't worry about that link right now. But these are just simple movements that you can also do with your students. So maybe you just need to stand up and do 10 squats. And I'm going to do it with them as well. Maybe we need to sing the ABCs twice. Maybe we need to count to 100 by 10s, doing some motions and movements. So again, it doesn't have to be these elaborate technical brain breaks that we pull down on the screen and the projectors. It can be something very, very simple that just gets some wiggles out. We're leaving the normal lesson plan. We're going to re-engage and come back. So really think about those brain breaks. I think we all do them in our classroom already, but just my challenge to you is think about how often that you're doing them. Because if you notice that kids are very wiggly, and especially this time of year in these age groups that we teach, really keep that in mind with how often that you're doing them, because our kids truly need them to stay focused and engaged. And like our weather today is crazy. I know this whole winter has been crazy. With some of you probably still have snow on the ground. So lots of indoor recess as well. So just make sure that we're filling that time. These kids need to move. They need to get out. They need to wiggle. They need to be up and down so that we can successfully keep teaching our lessons. So that's my sanity saving tip number 1, is our very frequent brain breaks. So sanity saving tip number 2 is going to be passion projects. And I'm pretty sure I didn't make up this word. I think I've heard it before. But these are going to be activities and things that you can do in your classroom that your kids are passionate about. So it's not the curriculum telling me, oh, you have to teach addition, and now you're teaching measurement, and now we got to teach the parts of a story. Yes, our kids can be passionate about that and how we teach it, but the passion projects are really things that your kids want to learn about. And so the picture that you'll see on the screen is just some research that we did over the past couple of weeks. We took our kindergarten field trip to the zoo, and our kids came back absolutely mesmerized and wanting to learn all of this information about animals. And so we had a little bit of research standards going on that we dipped into, and we just kind of went away with it. And we let the students ask questions. It's amazing some of the things that they wanted to know and that they were curious about these specific animals. So we just made a passion project. We said, you know what, let's go with it. This is what our kids want to learn about. That's what's important right now. We can tie in our standards with it and still be a win-win situation. So the reason I say this is a sanity saving tip is because a lot of the times we're teaching the curriculum, and at this point in the school year, we're kind of spiraling back through some things that a lot of our kids already know. So this is really, really great to see what they are passionate about. And so on this next screen, I put just some ideas. Animals, of course, is a big famous one that a lot of the primary grades do. But some students want to learn about sports. I know my own boys are very, very passionate about baseball right now. We live and breathe and eat and sleep baseball. And what's funny is April being Poetry Month, and my kindergartner is right across the hallway. His teacher came over. He was doing an acrostic poem for spring. And a couple of the letters matched up, like P was plants are growing, but S is steal those bases. And G was get them boys out. So he was tying in that baseball to his spring because he's just fascinated with sports right now. That's something that he's passionate about. They might want to be passionate about their family and do a project about their family. Food, I mean, who wouldn't want to do a project about food, right? But one of the questions that someone had put when they registered for the webinar was, how do we get our kids, and there was quite a few questions, how do we get our students ready for the next grade level? And not necessarily academic-wise, but how do we make that transition smooth for them? And so one of the passion projects that I put on here was the next grade level. This is a great time to let the next grade level teachers come down and introduce themselves. This is a great time for you to take a little in-house field trip to the next grade level and let them see what the room looks like. What do the kids look like, what they're doing in a first grade or kindergarten classroom, depending on their next grade level. Let those students answer questions. Just making it a smooth transition. I thought that was a great way to incorporate that for this year's kiddos. Make it a passion project. Let them come up with their own questions that you can ask those teachers and those students, and really make that transition smooth for them. I put video games on here. I don't know if it's just a my class thing, but my kids are obsessed with Minecraft, and Pokemon is the new. I've learned more about Pokemon this year than I probably need to know, but it's something my kids are passionate about. And so if I can turn that into a win-win and create engagement in the classroom, I'm willing to give it a try. Future careers I put on there as well, and just hobbies and talents. You might have a student who is very artistic. You might have a student who's great at ballet, or they play an instrument. So the whole idea behind the passion projects is just really letting students find their passion to become engaged with. One of the questions that I get frequently is, well, when do you fit this in? Like, I mean, we don't even have time to fit in the normal curriculum. And again, this is something great at the end of the year because that curriculum is kind of getting a little bit more loose. The topics are being spiraled back through. So even if it's just an indoor recess time or a quick 10 to 15 minutes cut off the end of a specific subject, we can make it work if it's going to create engagement. And so that was one of the things when we did the animal research projects, the kids were like the most engaged I've seen in a very long time. And in kindergarten, that doesn't happen too often. So just find your kids' passions and interests. And then when you do create that idea, create charts with the kids. Let them see real pictures, real activities. So I hand drew those charts. But one of the things I did go and create was little posters of real animals with facts and information and nonfiction features that kids really, really wanted to know. Gather books and information on the topics that they really want to hear about. This can be from the library. It can be things that you print off from the internet. It can be things that they bring in from home to include with their passion projects. But let them ask questions. They're really good at this already. I read a post or a little meme on social media here not too long ago that the average 4 or 5-year-old asks like 500 questions a day. So when it comes something to their passion projects, let them ask questions. What do they want to learn? What are they wanting to get out of this? What do they want to create? And kind of let that guide their learning. They can draw or create something that resembles whatever they're wanting to do. They can create a diagram. They can create an art project. They can illustrate something. They can create a book of things that they've learned about that topic. But then the big thing is they get to share that information. And so we do, every 9 weeks, we have student celebrations. And so we have this huge research project that's going to be included in their portfolio that they're going to get to share with parents and get to take home. So it's something that's meaningful to them. Did I have to put a little bit of extra work into it? Yes, but their engagement and their passion was shining through. So it helped save the sanity because they were thoroughly engaged. They were excited about it. They begged for it every single day. What animal can I do now? What questions can I figure out now? So if you do have the time in your classroom and the ability to do this, I highly suggest it because you're going to see a huge difference in that engagement to help save the sanity. So again, if you have any questions about those ideas or things or how to implement it in your classroom, again, just post a question down there, or you can save it at the end and email me directly. So I'll be more than happy to answer anything and help you out with that. All right, moving along to tip number 3. I'm sitting crisscross upstairs in my house. I had to hide from my kids because baseball got canceled. So if you see me moving, I'm upstairs with a baby gate across the stairs so that my kids will not come bother me. So sanity saving tip number 3 is change it up. One of the things that another piece of research that I found was that your brain and your body is most engaged and focused the first 2 to 5 hours after you wake up. So typically like between your first meal and your second meal. And so when I heard this piece of research, I was challenged to look at my class schedule and see what subjects I taught before lunch. And of course, 95% of teachers teach reading and math or small groups before lunch. And I think that curriculum creators and district people that align those schedules, they know because that's the most engaged that our mind and body are, is before lunch. And so what do you teach after lunch? Science, social studies. And so one of the things that I challenge you to do is take a look at your schedule and see what you teach before lunch, and we're going to change it up. And so some of the ideas are switching 2 subjects. The teacher that's across the hall from me, we had to do our 9-week writing assessment, and we do writing in the afternoon. And so it was a bit of a challenge, excuse me. And some of our kids are just disengaged from the get-go. Some are rolling around on the floor. They're not even close to their chair. And so she and I looked at each other and we said, let's change it up. Like, why can't we teach writing in the morning? Why does it have to be math first and writing in the afternoon? So we said, okay, we're going to switch the 2 subjects today. We're going to teach writing first thing this morning, and then we'll flip-flop and do math after lunch. And so we taught our writing that morning, and we come out for our conference time, and we both look at each other and we said, that was amazing. Like the best writing I've seen all year long. All because we switched and we changed up our structure. We changed up our routine, our schedule. We put writing in the morning and math in the afternoon, and it completely made a difference in our students' writing. So take a look at your schedule, see if you can change something up. Maybe there's an afternoon subject that you just dread because the kids are just crazy. They're disengaged, you're disengaged. So I challenge you to kind of look at that and see if you can change up something, because we did one day and it was amazing the results that we saw. I put switch how you eat. Eat in the classroom one day with your kids. They love it. I know some of you are like, nope, not on my carpet. But the kids love it. Maybe you go eat outside if it's a nice day. Maybe you eat in the cafeteria with your kids. Again, if I could see right now, some of you are like, nope. Have you seen how they eat? Yes, but they would absolutely love it. And again, it builds that connection with your kiddos. I put switch how you transition. Now this could be within the classroom, so maybe you're switching how you transition from stations back to your seats, to the rug, maybe you're lining up for lunch, lining up for recess. Transitions are the #1 time of day when behavior concerns are present. And I think a lot of it's like, clean up, get in line, get in line. And so there's really no structure. So make it a purpose to structure your transition and switch it up. So maybe today, anytime we transition in the classroom, we're going to tiptoe. We're going to tiptoe to the next place. We're going to tiptoe in line. Tying it back to our passion projects. I talk a lot with my hands, so if you see that, I'm sorry. But back to our passion projects, one of the animals that we did was a giraffe. And so one day when we walked down the hallway, everyone had to walk like a giraffe. And last time we heard like they don't make too loud of sounds. So we had our hand, we do a peace and a quiet when we walked down the hallway. So the peace was our tall giraffe neck and our quiet. And then we took these big, long, soft steps. And so we just kind of changed up how we transitioned. Did we look like crazy circus people walking down the hallway? Yes. But were they quiet? Yes, because they were focused on the new transition. So we were these quiet peace and quiet giraffes with these huge long steps that these 5- and 6-year-olds are taking, but we changed it up. And we got from point A to point B quietly, and people made comments about it. So it was a win-win. Then I put switch where you sit or where you teach. If you're OCD, a lot of teachers are, it's okay. You probably teach from the same place every single day. You have your chair that you sit in, the kids sit on the rug, and it's just something that's routine, and so your kids are used to it. So switch it up. Maybe you sit on the floor with them. Maybe you sit on the opposite side of the rug. It doesn't have to be a drastic change. It's just something to change it up so that your kids see, oh, it's a difference. And so they're more focused on the change necessarily than how it's always been, how you've always done it. So again, just a couple of things to change it up. I think the biggest one here is switching those 2 subjects, because the first 2 to 5 hours that a body is awake is the most crucial for engagement and being able to focus. I think as soon as you eat lunch, like it just goes downhill from there. So I challenge you to do that to save some sanity. Because it really, really made a difference. Like both of us, the teachers, we walked out of the hallway and we're like, ah, they wrote the whole time, like they were engaged. It was quiet. It was amazing just by switching it up. So I challenge you to do that. This is just a couple of pictures. Yes, we wore goofy sunglasses. We changed it up. It's okay to be silly with your kids. That's going to help save your sanity too when you stop being so serious, and just make it lighthearted and fun. Sit on the floor with them, dance with them. Make it like you're one big family, because that's what you are. You're with them for a whole year. The other picture is we did math outside. It was a gorgeous day. We were doing measurement. So we took it outside, and it changed up the scenery. It changed up the structure, and they were much, much more engaged and focused. So again, I just challenge you. It's just a tip. I know there'll probably be some questions that say, if my administrator were to walk in and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, like, that's not good. But my challenge to you would be to explain to your principal that you want, the most engagement from your students. And at this point in the school year, I think that they're going to be okay with you switching up one subject to get that engagement. So that's my challenge to you. We are going to move on to tip number 4. And even though this is hosted by ESGI, some of the questions that came in when you registered were, well, how good is ESGI? Or, does it really save you time? Holy cow. Yes, that is my answer. Yes. You are going to save your sanity at the end of the year, because we know there's all of that end of the year assessment. You're doing math and reading levels and making sure they know their letters, their sounds, all their phonics patterns. Can they rhyme? Can they count to 100? All of those things are with ESGI. So on this slide, I just pulled up one of my students. He just moved in. He's a brand new student. And so when he was putting his things away and the other students were working, I assessed him the first 30 minutes that he was in my classroom. So ESGI stands for Educational Software for Guiding Instruction. It is all done on technology. You can do it from your iPad, from a desktop, and you're going to get a screen like this for each of your students. There's lots of pre-made assessments that are already there for you. which is what I did with this student. I did his capital, his lowercase letters, his sounds, and it's not very often you have a student come in, but he scored 100% on all of those. But within 30 minutes, my brand new student was assessed. And so what we used to do in the past is we had the paper pencil. I had to write down everything. It took like at least 2 weeks to assess my class. I can assess my entire class, math and reading, in 1 to 2 days max. So if you have not given ESGI a chance, I highly suggest it. And you're in luck because right now there is a very special spring fling going on. And normally you get a free 60 days when you sign up so that you can kind of just play around with it, see how it is, plug your students in, kind of test the assessments. And if those are not the assessments you need, the great thing is you can create your own assessments. You can make it fit exactly what you need for your students in your classroom. So if you do go sign up, you can save $40 right now if you use the code WILD, but instead of just free 60 days, you're going to get ESGI free through the end of August. So the great thing about that is not only can you finish assessing your students from this year, but you can assess your incoming students when you start the new year and already have the data ready to go in less than 2 days. So if you are on the fence about ESGI, now is the time to go sign up because you get it free through the end of August. And I guarantee, I've never heard anybody say, well, it wasn't right for me, or I didn't like it. You know, I just love spending 2 weeks, you know, doing paper pencil. That's over. ESGI is your new friend. So another great thing is you can see all of your students. You can print parent letters to send home after you've assessed your students, and it's going to tell them correct answers, incorrect answers. It's going to print flashcards so that they have specific things that they can work on. You can reassess at any point. I mean, it is really, really a life-saving tool. It's not going to save your sanity just at the end of the year, I promise. It is an entire school year sanity-saving tip. So it's not just end of the year. If you're hesitant about spending that extra money, because I know teachers, we're not in the top tax bracket, and I completely get that. Talk to your district about it. Maybe have your administrator look into it. It's going to save you time, which leads more time for intentional instruction. So you're not shutting down class for 2 weeks to test. You're done in 1 to 2 days, and you're back on teaching. So talk to your district about it. Your district can also use the code. It's not just for an individual use. Talk to your campus. Maybe they want to buy it just for your team for 1 year to try it out. But again, now's the time to do it. I mean, you really did luck in at the right month because you do get it free through the end of August. So you benefit from this class and next year. So it is a huge sanity saving tip. Again, if you have any questions, ESGI is answering them right now. So if you do have a question about ESGI, now is the time to ask it. But I promise you are not going to regret it. If you need a little bit more details about the specific spring fling, if you'll go to my Wild About Firsties blog, I have a whole blog post that explains it a little bit more in detail because there's also some giveaways that are included with this spring fling. So it's not just an extended free trial. There's lots of other things that are going away with this. So that's sanity saving tip number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Like ESGI is your friend if you have not used it. And those of you that do use it, you can probably, if I could see you right now, you're probably saying, yes, like you need it, go get it, try it out. It really, really is a sanity saving tip. So those are the first 4. We've got a couple more. Number 5 is a class countdown. So we're trying to celebrate the year in a positive way. And so you'll see this particular picture has the balloons. I think that's been a really common one that we see going around classrooms. And what teachers do is they just put a little incentive or an activity inside the balloon. And so each day, like the last 10 days, you pop it, you participate with the incentive, and you celebrate the end of the year. So some of the options for sanity saving tips with a class countdown is you can do the last 10 days of a countdown. In kindergarten, we have the famous ABC countdown. And I actually have ours. This is our little calendar. I don't know if you can see it too well. But each day, we count down the last 26 days. Today was E Day, so we had exercise clothes, and we did a yoga. I'm still in the, I did put on a nice shirt for you, but I did have on some exercise clothes. But this is just a fun way to celebrate the year, tie in a little bit of learning with it. So if you don't do an ABC countdown, it's something, there's lots of free ones you can download online, make it work for your schedule. It's just a fun way to celebrate. Another idea is however many number of kids you have in your classroom, do that number of days of countdown and make it specific for each student. So for instance, if you have 22 kids in your class, do the last 22 days of school, and each day celebrate a student. Like they get to sit in a special seat. They get to eat lunch with you. So the last 22 days, you get to eat with a student every day. Hey, hey. Sounds like a good deal to me. But celebrate each student. Like let them spend one-on-one time with you. Just tell them how proud of them you are. Let them eat lunch with you. Maybe get them a little special gift, because a lot of teachers get end-of-year gifts for their students anyways, but make it specific to that student. So that's just another alternative for a class countdown. Or maybe you just want to count down the last month. I know some of you probably get out in May. Some of you go well into June. So just pick your last, 20 to 30 days, last 4 to 5 weeks, and just celebrate something positive on those last few weeks of school. The class countdowns are a pretty popular thing. Another way to celebrate memories, these are just a couple of ideas that we've done in the past. The end of year memory books are a big thing. So this was just a little quick, this year is in the bag, like it is over, but we're still going to celebrate the memories. And then over here, I went into Lowe's one day. We go to Lowe's a lot. But the paint samples are free. And I walked out with about 80, just a few, like discreetly in my purse. But a couple of years ago, we did, this year was Painted with Fun. And we got to list our 3 favorite things that we did. And so we just kind of tie that in. And what I liked about this, it was free. Hello. So that was a really good option. The bag, again, there's a link on here if you want to try the bag. It goes all the way up to 3rd grade. But there's just like all about my teacher, my field trip, my favorite thing, my favorite subject, my favorite lunch that I had, those types of things, and just kind of a different way. It's not just your paper pencil type of memory book. It's with little paper sacks, a little keepsake. Again, if you can't see the link very well, don't worry about it right now, because at the very end, I'm going to give you a link that's going to have all of these free things, like back to the brain breaks, this book. So don't worry about writing it down now. Just keep watching. And then I'll give you that link at the end if it's something that you want to use. So sanity saving tip number 6 is new behavior incentives. I think this is the big sanity saving tip when a lot of you signed up was, my kids have lost their minds. What can I do to get their behavior back on track? And so what I've been seeing a lot is even kids that like never have behavior concerns are just doing some crazy things lately. Like, what in the world are y'all thinking? Like I had a kid spit in someone's face today because there was marker on it, and that's how they thought they needed to clean it. And this was a child that never does anything. So again, I get it. Behavior is kind of wild right now. So we're going to look at some new incentives. These are just some ideas, and then I'm going to go into detail a little bit more. I said set some small goals. So, like up until lunch, we're going to see if we can do this. We're going to go one day at a time. And then the next 4, I really want to explain in detail because it's some of the things that we've been doing this year to save some sanity. We do a movie money. We have the 10-frame takeaway. We have touchdowns. And then my absolute favorite that we've been doing is the praise and raise, which I'll explain in detail in just a little bit. But the first I wanted to talk about is the movie money. So at the very end of the year, like the last 2 days, I mean, we've already taken supplies home. We aren't teaching curriculum. Grades were already due. We have a movie day. But we tied in some incentives. So kids have to pay to go and watch these movies. We turn the kindergarten hallway into a theater. And so each kindergarten classroom is going to show a different G-rated movie. And so we started this Monday. Every day, kids start with 4 movie monies. So by the end of the week, if they've kept all of them, it's $20. And that's how much one movie costs to get in. So I don't give more movie money, like for extra, positive behavior, but you can take it away. So the goal is that they need at least $20. And so we have 4 weeks until our movie day. And by the end, if they have earned all of that money, they have $80. And so they can go see a movie, and then we bring in a concession stand that parents help set up. And we have snacks and drinks they can purchase to bring their blanket from home. That's $5. But it's just a really good incentive at the end of the year because they're working towards something. Again, if you have questions about that, please feel free to ask, and I'll give you a little bit more details about exactly how that's set up and what we do. But it's just a great incentive that's something different. They're not going to get out of the prize box. You know, they're not going to do something small or get a new pencil. Like, they're going to the kindergarten theater. They get to earn popcorn and drinks and see a movie of their choice. So it's really, really a good incentive. This is one of my favorites. It's the 10-frame takeaway. And so I'll show you the next picture because this is actually from our class. We have 2 10 frames, and the teacher starts off with 0 every single day, and the class starts off with all 10. Now, we have these cute little magnetic 10 frames, but you can easily draw one on the board. Excuse me. And then at the very end, I'll give you a link to a printout that you can just color in. So what it is the class starts with 10 every single day, and the teacher starts with 0. And it's the 10-frame takeaway. So, I mean, if we're misbehaving, if we're just out of control, as a whole group, then I take one from the class and I move it up to my 10-frame. And so our goal at the end of the day is that the class has more than Miss Travis. And so it's also a great way to tie in that number sense skill. So like right now it's 9 and 1 in the picture. And so you can see easily how to decompose those numbers. So again, you're tying in some learning. But it's a great new incentive, and it's a visual for students. Kids need to see where they stand with behavior. If you say, I've already told you 16 times to go sit down, that's in this ear and out the other. They need to see it. So it's just a really, really good whole group incentive. It's the 10-frame takeaway. So I challenge you to try that because it's a really, really fun competitive incentive that your kids are definitely going to want to try and beat you. So it's a really, really good one. The next one is called the touchdowns. And just like you do with any student, because I can think of some right off the top of my head, as soon as they have a negative behavior, or if I have to get on to them for something, they shut down for the rest of the day. And it is like pulling teeth to get them back on track. So the touchdown is similar to a specific student, but it's your whole class. So break your day up into 4 sections, your 4 quarters. So I do 2 before lunch and 2 after lunch. So you're working towards a whole group reward. And again, you can tie this in with the 10 frames. So if for the first quarter, they, you know, they're on task, they're engaged, they're working good, they're keeping their hands to themselves. That's a big one. They get to leave their 10 frame as it is. Or you can earn points towards a different reward. So again, it's just after they finish the first quarter, if they got some points taken away, that's okay because the next quarter they start completely brand new, fresh, full of points. So again, it's just breaking it down into small chunks and small sections so that all of your kids are back on task, they can start over, and you're breaking your day up into small sections. Now on to my favorite, this is the praise and raise. And what the praise and raise is it's positive praise for students to raise their confidence. And so something that I do, and I do it whole group in front of everybody so that every kid gets to hear a positive praise amongst their peers. Sometimes we're really, really good at talking to students and saying, oh my goodness, I just love how you got right to work when you came in. I'm so proud of you. And it's great, but imagine how they feel when you say it in front of all of their peers. And so I tried starting this off at the beginning of the year with every student every day, and then it became overwhelming. And some of those you kind of got to dig deep for. I get it. That's normal to find something positive, but you can. I challenge you to do like 2 students a day or 5 students a day, whatever you're comfortable with, and just praising them and raising them in front of their peers. And we do this in the morning time. When we first come to the rug, it's the very beginning of the day. And I might say, Bobby, I am so proud of how you came in today. You put your things away. You got right to work. I absolutely love how you came in doing your job. So I thank you for being such a good leader and a good listener. Like, I'm so proud of you. Then I go to the next one. Sally, yesterday there was somebody hurt on the playground and you went over there. You took time away from your playtime to check and make sure that this student was okay. And I'm just so proud of what a great friend you are. It doesn't have to be in this elaborate novel story that you've written about a student. You're just positive praising to raise their confidence in front of their peers. It's sanity saving because to see their face light up. I had a girl cry one time in kindergarten, and she's like, "You brought tears to my eyes, Miss Travis." And I was like, I'm so, like a 5-year-old felt the emotion because I positively praised her in front of her peers. I mean, that made her feel amazing. So this is one of my favorite new incentives that we've done this year, is just the praise and raise. Just giving a positive little shout out. And again, I know there's some students that you're going to have to dig kind of deep for. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But a simple positive thing, you can find something positive. Like, I am so glad you were here with a smile on your face and that you are sitting here being a great listener. That makes Ms. Travis so happy. So praise and raise. I promise you are going to see a big difference in confidence. So I challenge you to try it. We're almost done. We've had brain breaks, passion projects, changing it up, ESGI, class countdown, and new incentives. We're getting close to being done. Number 7 is staff fun. We got to keep it light and fluffy and airy with the staff, because I guarantee you are not the only one at your campus that's feeling like this. So here's just a couple of quick things, and I'll explain these in further detail. Keep the quote is something that we started this year on our campus. A dress down day. We know how excited teachers get for jean days. Don't lie, don't lie. You are excited. A catered lunch, so you don't have to worry about food. A candy and a snack area, and then my favorite is a staff bingo. We'll get to that. But I really want to explain this new thing called Keep the Quote. And you might have seen it a lot on social media. It's something that's real popular right now. But we have this little quote that's hanging up in the middle of our hallway. And it's just something positive. Like this one says, "You are amazing and I'm not lying." The new one that was posted up today said, "You are not finished when you lose. You are finished when you quit." And so it's just really quick little positive blurbs that are posted for everyone to see. And then at the end of the week, or if you feel like you just need that quote, you can go cut it off and take it down, and then another one is written on there. So it's just something really, really positive for the staff. One that we had last week is, it said, "You can do hard things." And I think everyone is stressed right now and challenged. And so just for everyone to walk by and see that, hey, I can do hard things. Like, I am surviving kindergarten right now. That speaks to me. I can go take that quote, write a new one so that somebody else can benefit from a positive quote. So again, this is just a staff incentive, the thing that your staff can do. Keep the quote. Now, this was me today in my exercise clothes. This is a dress down day. And I'm not going to lie, the E for exercise might have been a little bit for the teachers to wear some comfy clothes. But hey, it was a win-win. But we know how excited teachers get for jean days. So have a dress down day. Again, this is going to go with your administration. I wouldn't just all show up in like some sweats or tights or jeans without permission. But just have a fun dress down day. It's amazing how much more comfortable you feel in the classroom when you're in your own comfort zone and you're not dressed up or in a skirt or in heels or sandals. You're just in a dress down mode. So again, it's just a fun Sanity staff fun tip. I put a catered lunch because periodically we do teacher potlucks, but nobody has time to cook right now at all. So one of the things you can do is everyone on the staff chips in $5, and then you cater in lunch for the entire staff. And all you had to pay was $5. I mean, it can even be $3, depending on where you're going to cater in from. It could be pizza. I mean, something very simple. But you don't have to cook. You don't have to worry about lunch. It's a fun, lighthearted thing. Everyone's getting to participate all together. It's not a potluck because then you have 40 boxes of cookies because no one's going to go cook in May. But it's just a fun little staff thing that you can all participate in and not have to cook. I mean, that's a big win-win right there. This is one of my favorites. And actually, my principal this year, she's real big on snacky snacks. And in her office, she has a whole drawer filled with all of these things that you see on the screen right now. So what I was thinking is maybe next year that every person on the staff can purchase one box And then we have this designated area in the school to save our sanity, because I mean, food makes teachers happy, especially these kinds of foods. So everyone can donate 1 box of snacks. It's in a central location in your teacher's lounge, in the office. And then anytime you're feeling down or stressed, or you just need a break and you're challenged, go grab a snack. It's just something fun. Maybe you already do this, but food makes a teacher happy. And these snacks are going to save your sanity, I promise. Now, my favorite is the staff bingo. Now, this is going to have to depend on your staff. Now, you know your people at your campus. Some might not want to participate. So maybe just do it with your team. It's just a funny and lighthearted little thing. But all of the squares, and I'll give you this link at the end if you want to use it, it's just to lighten up the fun at your campus, because everybody is feeling stressed. So some of these boxes you can color in if you threw away papers that you were supposed to grade, if you forgot your lunch, if you sent a text message in class, if you deleted an email without reading it, if a student had a meltdown, we could probably all color that one in today. If you were shocked by behavior every single day, and that's hard to do in K1 and 2. Is being shocked by behavior, because we see a lot of things. But the other day, I was sitting on the rug teaching. Kids are out there on the rug sitting, and I look up and 3 of them are running around the room. And I'm like, this is day 146. What in the world are you doing? And they're like, Mr. Travis, we're playing tag. Like, so nonchalantly, they were like, we're playing tag. Like, duh, don't you see what we're doing? I was shocked by that behavior, because they were so just, yeah, we're playing tag, like, want to join? So I think we could all probably color that one in. So this is my favorite staff activity, because it's just lighthearted, it's fun. You can color in things that happens to every teacher and have a little reward, incentive, something fun to go with it. But the staff needs to save sanity too. It's not just us. So that's tip number 7. This one's kind of my least favorite, but it's sometimes necessary to do to save our sanity when it comes to student behavior. Sometimes we just have to start over and go back to the basics. We need to create charts for behavior. We need to go over these rules together, whether it's for recess, because that's scary, the lunchroom, even scarier, and then in the classroom, and have students really involved in this process of starting over like it's week 1 of school. Again, it's not my favorite, but sometimes kids just need a reminder. These are 2 little activities that I do at the beginning of school that I might just have to bring back to the end. The first one is be a friend, not a bully Rex. And so there's this whole little pack I have, and it's actually free. I have a Teachers Pay Teachers store, and it's underneath Jessica Travis. And so if you just search free, this activity, this whole bundle's in there. And there's sorting cards with just certain behaviors of what a good friend would do or what a bully would do. And a lot of you did have some questions when you registered. How do you keep your hands to yourself? Like, how do you have your kids do that? Because they're just so touchy-feely right now. So this is a really, really good way to sort that. There's a little contract that they sign that says they're going to be a friend. There's a little student booklet that they can do. And then the other side is don't be a lunch monster, be a lunch friend. And so there's a little song and chant that goes with it. And then we just have some cafeteria expectations that we're going to sort that we do as a whole group, because the cafeteria is kind of scary too. Like, I don't know what they do at their house or in a restaurant, but I pray to God it is not what they do in the cafeteria. So this is just, again, another free little activity. And the Lunch Monster activity is on my blog, and I'll give you that website at the end. But again, this is all free stuff, so that, because that helps save our sanity too, right, if it's free. But again, both of these are free. Sometimes we just have to start over in order to get the sanity back with our student behavior. Okay, so we're almost done. I'm going to try and wrap it up, because I know you've got some lesson plans to plan, some lamination to cut, a nap to take, I don't know. But I'm going to get you done in just a second. Tip number 9 is to set small goals in order to achieve them at the end of the year. So this can be goals for planning, goals for organizing, set goals for your students, and then goals for your team as well. One of the things for planning is I set a goal for myself every single Thursday I make sure that all of my plans for the next week are ready. And if I fail to get that ready, then I have Friday to kind of back me up if I don't get it all finished on Thursday. So I just set a small goal, like tomorrow, my small goal is that I'm going to plan for next week, math for next week. You can start with baby steps. Goals for organizing. Maybe on Friday, you're going to organize an inch-thick pile of papers on your filing cabinet. Start small and reasonable, but just set those small goals that are achievable. At the end of the year, there's so many things that we're expected to do that sometimes it's overwhelming and our piles just keep stacking up. Papers go ungraded, lesson plans go half written. And so I really challenge you to set those small goals to save your sanity so that they're achievable and you can check it off your list so that it's helping you achieve. I mean, that's the big goal, so you're not getting further and further behind. All right, last but not least is balance for sanity saving. Do you? We have to set some time aside for ourselves. And there were a lot of questions when you registered that said, how do you find the balance between school and your personal life? And it's a big question. And I mean, I'll have some ideas for you on the next slide, but a lot of teachers struggle because it's not just an 8 to 3 job. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365 days a year job. If we're not at school, we're thinking about school. If we're at home, we're cutting out stuff, we're lesson planning, we're prepping, we're making stuff. It's a never-ending cycle. And the balance is a real concern. So some of these things that I put on here, pick up dinner one night. Like, you don't have to come home and cook every night. Pick up dinner, and then across from it, I put a family dinner. Like, spend some time with your family. If you don't have a family yet, maybe you live alone, pick up dinner for yourself. Get a book, take a hot bubble bath, and just relax. Like, de-stress from school. Don't think about lesson planning. Don't think about what you have to do tomorrow. Just relax. And I know that's easier said than done because our brains do not shut down as teachers. But just making your evening a little bit less about school. I put use your conference time wisely. Now, I'll be guilty. Sometimes I spend a whole conference talking, venting even sometimes. I'm guilty of that too. Just sitting and chatting. I'll look up and I've spent 25 minutes of my conference doing nothing. So one of the balances that I want to do is I want to spend that conference time very wisely, planning and prepping and getting things ready so that when it's time to leave school, I can leave school at school. I don't want to have to take my bags home because 9 times out of 10, they sit in the car. Am I alone on that one? No. But I want to leave school at school. And I know it's very hard to do because sometimes you're going to have to work on things at home. But finding that balance, there's going to have to be a cutoff point. Your family needs you. Your dog needs you if you're a dog lover. You need you. You need to relax, to de-stress, to unwind. And last but not least, I put your phone away. And it's not from texting or calling people. It's from social media. A lot of times we get online and we look at these pictures of these gorgeous classrooms and charts that people are making and all of these students doing these wonderful behaviors. It's a highlight reel and it kind of helps us lose our sanity. So I challenge you to one night, put the phone away. Don't compare yourself to these highlight reels that you see on social media. And I'm guilty of it too. Don't worry, I'm guilty. But it's hard at the end of the year when we're trying to save our sanity and we get online and we see these, decorated posters and classrooms of all these kids engaged and they're writing these wonderful papers and it just looks so perfect. And I'm over here like, I haven't washed my hair in 3 days and barely made it to school on time. And here I am looking at these perfect classrooms. So my last sanity saving tip is to find the balance and find you, time for you, where you're not doing school, you're not worried about what's going to happen tomorrow or a parent email that you just got. Put the phone away and just do you. So those are my 10 tips. Brain breaks, passion projects, changing it up, ESGI, my favorite. Having a class countdown, just celebrate the year that you had with your kids. Try some new incentives. So those 10 frame takeaways, maybe the raise and praise. My kids love that one, the praise and raise. Some staff fun. Try a little staff bingo with your team. Just lighten up the mood. Start over if you need to with the lunch, the recess, the classroom expectations. Set some small goals for yourself, and then just find the balance. Do you. I do want you to have all of these tips. So at the bottom, I have a link here, and it's a bit.ly link, Wild Sanity Tips. And if you download that link, it's going to give you this little picture that you see on your screen where it has the 10 tips to save your sanity. And then also I've included in that are all of the links to those free things that I told you not to worry about. It's going to have your brain breaks. It's going to have the end of the year book, the little paper bag book. It's going to have some movie money if you want to try that incentive. The 10 frames if you want to do the 10 frame takeaway. It's going to have the staff bingo. I'm curious if any of y'all try that staff bingo, like how that makes your staff feel. And then again, those other resources are free on my blog. You can see my blog address will also be in that download. But just a huge, huge thank you for joining us tonight. I know at this point in the school year to spend an entire hour, and it might even be over that, I apologize, an entire hour just to help save your sanity says a lot that you're already an amazing teacher for coming in here and spending a whole night. Whether you were cooking during it, cutting out lesson planning, you were here trying to find different ways to make your classroom better. So that says already a lot about how amazing you are. Again, if you have any questions, here is my contact information on the screen. My email is listed first. So if you think of something later tonight, although I'm trying to say don't think about school, find the balance. But if you do have a question or something that you just want to let me know, please shoot me an email. I read all of those. I might not get to it like right as soon as you send it, but I will answer it, and I will answer any questions that you might have. My blog address is there as well. There's lots and lots of freebies on there, and I also do a little bit of explaining of the ESGI Spring Fling, so if you're still questioning about that, you can find that all on my blog. And then I put my Facebook page. I give away a lot of freebies on there, just some tips, some pictures, just things that you can easily put into your classroom. So go ahead and follow that, and you can comment there as well if you don't email me, but lots and lots of just things that you can take right back with you to your classroom. Again, a huge, huge thank you for joining me. And again, I look forward to reading all of your comments and questions, and I hope you have saved some sanity, or you will start to save some sanity by trying some of these things in your own classroom. So a big thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night and the rest of the school year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica.